14.2, translate and reflect trig graphs.
Can I go get my accident got my Bible?
Alright, I'm going to start out with the notes that I would normally give in regard to this section for the letters that this book uses, and then I'm going to use like a little bit of other stuff for actually doing the transformations of the graphs. So, translation of sine and cosine graphs. So we have the form y equals a sine of b times x minus h plus k, or y equals a times the cosine of b times x minus h plus k. A is greater than 0 and b is greater than 0. H is a horizontal shift. Okay, meaning it's going left and right. K is a vertical shift, up and down. So for H, if it's positive inside the parentheses, it moves left. If it's negative inside the parentheses, it moves right. So that's H. If it's positive outside the parentheses, it moves up. If it's negative outside the parentheses, it moves down. So that's K. If A is less than 0, okay, meaning it's negative, it is reflected. Okay, meaning it's flipped over the x-axis, such as y equals negative a cosine of b times x minus h plus k. It is reflected. Because of this negative sign out front. So if you see a negative out front, that means it is reflected. So if I just ask you to tell me what's happening, this is the information you're going to use to do that. But I'm going to give you some steps for us to actually be able to graph these functions by hand. Steps to graph sine and cosine. So step 1, using the A value, determine the amplitude. Which, remember, is the absolute value of A. Step 2, using the B value, and notice B has to be pulled out front, okay? It can't be like in the parentheses, it has to be out front of it. Find the period, which, as you will remember from yesterday, the period is equal to 2 pi over B. And that's the interval for one full cycle. Okay, start to finish, that's one full cycle. Step 3, to figure out how to scale the x-axis, divide the period by 4. So it's period divided by 4. Now, they write it in the form y equals a times like the cosine of b times x minus c plus d. But it means the same thing as the h and k, so, just showing you different letters with it. Step 4, using the c value, or from our other situation, h, shift the appropriate units left or right. So it goes opposite the direction of the sign. Step 5, using the d value, or in our other case was k, shift the appropriate units up or down. And that goes the same direction as the sign. And then step 6, determine whether or not the graph is reflected. So when we do our problems, we're going to start out with writing what's happening to the graph, finding all this information, and then we'll finish up with a graph.